Hi everyone, and welcome back to Take 10. My name is Denise, and today we're going to be on Chapter 2. Alright, so to get things started today, I brought with me a hat that is filled with different questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a question and read it to you, and then I'd like you to turn to your neighbor and tell them your answer, and then they'll tell you their answer as well. Okay? So let's see, the first question is, what's your favorite food? So turn to your neighbor and tell them what your favorite food is. My favorite food is pizza. Okay, ready for question number 2. What's your favorite color? Turn to your other neighbor and tell them what your favorite color is. My favorite color is yellow. All right, ready for the last question? It says, do you like summer or winter more? Turn to your neighbor and tell them. And my answer is I like summer more because I love to be outside. All right, thank you for playing with me. Today we are going to talk about the importance of valuing our differences. So each of us are unique and different, and so is our neighbor. So we're going to talk about how that can help us, okay? But first, I have a review question for you. The last time that we were together, we talked about the Take 10 slogan. So I would like to see who can remember what the Take 10 slogan is and why it's important to know the slogan, okay? So I want you to take a couple seconds, think to yourself, and then turn to your neighbor and tell them. As you do that, I'm going to pull up our PowerPoint for today. All right, so hopefully you remembered that the slogan is talk it out, walk it out, wait it out. And these are important actions to remember because they're ways that we can respond to conflict without having to use violence, right? And like we talked about last week, these are actions that we can use in violence-free zones. So that would be like your school, for example, to help us solve our problems. So that means that when you're at school, you don't have to use violence to solve your problems. You can use the Take 10 slogan, like talk it out, walk it out, or wait it out. So good job to those of you that could remember. And if you didn't remember, that's okay. We're all learning it together. And also remember that sometimes it can be hard to respond to problems or conflicts that we have without using violence, but we're all learning this together. We're learning ways that we can respond better without using violence, so talking it out, and that will help our friendships and our relationships be better in the long run, right? Okay, so now that we're done with the review, we're going to get into our lesson for today. So I want to know, what does it mean to be different? So here on the screen, we have different animals. We've got a tiger, a penguin, and a jellyfish. And if I were to ask you, what's different between these 3 animals, what does that mean? So in your activity journal for Take 10, on page number 3, you should find a worksheet that has these 3 animals on it. And then it has like a list of 8 different spots where you can write down the differences that you see in these animals. So when you're looking at them, you can talk about the differences in how they look, what they do, how they act, where they live, right? So I want you to pause the video, pull out your worksheet, and think for a second and write down some differences that you see between these animals here. And then when you're all done, you can go ahead and click play again. All right? So you can go ahead and pull out your activity journal and pause the video. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you were able to think about all the different things that are different about these 3 animals. So for example, you maybe wrote down that a tiger is furry, but a jellyfish probably feels slimy. Or a penguin kind of waddles kind of slow, but a tiger can run really fast. Or penguins and tigers they breathe air, but jellyfish live underwater, right? So these are all different things that are different about these animals. What if all the animals were the same? What would the world be like if every animal was the same? And what would it be like to visit a zoo where every animal is the same? It would be kind of strange, right? You get to the first exhibit and see a tiger, and then the rest of the zoo would just be filled with tigers, which is kind of cool, but it's also cool to be able to see lots of different animals and a variety of animals, okay? So next we are going to listen to a story called Elmer the Elephant by David McKee. And as you're listening to this story, I want you to think about what it would be like to be Elmer in this story, and how you would feel if you were Elmer in this story, okay? So listen closely.
Elmer by David McKee. There was once a herd of elephants. Elephants young, elephants old, elephants tall or fat or thin. Elephants like this, that or the other, all different but all happy and all the same color. All, that is, except for Elmer. Elmer was different. Elmer was patchwork. Elmer was yellow and orange, and red and pink and purple, and blue and green, and black and white. Elmer was not elephant color. It was Elmer who kept the elephants happy. Sometimes he joked with the other elephants, sometimes they joked with him. But if there was even a little smile, it was usually Elmer who started it. One night, Elmer couldn't sleep for thinking. And the think that he was thinking was that he was tired of being different. "Who ever heard of a patchwork elephant?" he thought. "No wonder they laugh at me." In the morning, before the others were really awake, Elmer slipped quietly away, unnoticed. As he walked through the jungle, Elmer met other animals. They always said, "Good morning, Elmer." Each time, Elmer smiled and said, "Good morning." After a long walk, Elmer found what he was looking for, a large bush. A large bush covered with berries. A large bush covered with elephant-colored berries. Elmer caught hold of the bush and shook it, so the berries fell on the ground. Once the ground was covered in berries, Elmer lay down and rolled over and over, this way and that way and back again. Then he picked up bunches of berries and rubbed himself all over, covering himself with berry juice until there wasn't a sign of any yellow or orange or red or pink or purple or blue or green or black or white. When he had finished, Elmer looked like any other elephant. After that, Elmer set back off to the herd. On the way, he passed the other animals again. This time, each one of them said to him, "Good morning, elephant." And each time Elmer smiled to himself and said, "Good morning," pleased that he wasn't recognized. When Elmer rejoined the other elephants, they were all standing quietly. None of them noticed Elmer as he worked his way to the middle of the herd. After a while, Elmer felt that something was wrong. But what? He looked around. Same old jungle, same old bright sky, same old rain cloud that came over from time to time, and lastly, same old elephants. Elmer looked at them. The elephants were standing absolutely still. Elmer had never seen them so serious before. The more he looked at the serious, silent, still standing elephants, the more he wanted to laugh. Finally, he could bear it no longer. He lifted his trunk and at the top of his voice shouted, "Boo!" The other elephants jumped and fell all ways in surprise. "Oh my gosh, golly," they said, and then saw Elmer, helpless with laughter. "Elmer," they said, "it must be Elmer." Then the other elephants laughed too, as they had never laughed before. As they laughed, the rain cloud burst, and when the rain fell on Elmer, his patchwork started to show again. The elephants still laughed as Elmer was washed back to normal. "Oh, Elmer," gasped an old elephant. "You've played some good jokes, but this has been the biggest laugh of all. It didn't take you long to show your true colors." "We must celebrate this day every year," said another. "This will be Elmer's Day. All elephants must decorate themselves, and Elmer will decorate himself elephant color." That is exactly what the elephants do. On one day a year, they decorate themselves and parade. On that day, if you happen to see an elephant ordinary elephant color, you will know that it must be Elmer. The end.
Okay, my first question I have for you is, what did you think the story was about? Take a couple seconds and think in your mind, what was the story about? So hopefully you thought that this story was about how Elmer didn't really like being different, but that's exactly what the elephants liked about him, was that he was different. He brought something fun to the group. My other question is, what kinds of differences are there in people? I want you to write down on your activity journal paper, what are some differences in people? So for example, some people wear glasses, some people are taller, some people are shorter, some people wear different types of clothes. And what do you think the world would be like if all people were the same? Do you think it would be more interesting? Do you think it'd be more boring? Next, we're going to do an activity called Thumbs Up, Thumbs Down. And this is going to help us see that even in your classroom, there's lots of differences. Okay, so in this game, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And you're going to answer by either putting your thumb up, which means yes, you agree with what I said, or your thumbs down, which means no, you don't agree, or you can put your thumb sideways if you're not sure. Okay, so thumbs up means I agree, thumbs down means I don't agree, and then thumb sideways means I'm not sure. Okay, so the first question is, do you like Brussels sprouts? So thumbs up if you like them, thumbs down if you don't, and maybe you've never had them before, so you're not sure. I'll put my thumbs up because I like Brussels sprouts. And I want all of you to look around the classroom right now and see all of the different responses that your classmates have. Maybe some people have their thumbs up, some people have their thumbs down, maybe some have never tried Brussels sprouts. Okay, so as I'm asking these questions, be aware of how other people are answering, okay? All right, the second question is, can you swim? So that's a thumbs up for me. Yes, I can swim. And there's probably some people that can't, and that's okay. Maybe there's some people that are learning, so they have it sideways. The next question is, do you think kids should be able to go to bed when they want? You can pick your own bedtime. Do you think that's a good thing or not? I would say, I'm gonna do this. Well, this. Because when I was little, I would have stayed up way too late and I would have been super tired in school. All right, the last one is, do you wish you had a pizza and soda pop for lunch every day? Would you want that pizza and soda for lunch every day? Show me on your hands. Mine would be thumbs down. I think I would get bored of it pretty quick. All right, that's everything for our activity today. To wrap things up, I want to talk about how it's pretty obvious that we all have differences, right? And those differences are okay, and they're a good thing to have. So the world is a beautiful place because we all have different opinions, we all have different lifestyles. People don't always think and act like you, right? And that's what having so many friends, what makes it so exciting is that everyone's different, right? And a word that people use for that is diversity. So that is just talking about how everyone is different and how that's a good thing in this world. So for next week, I'm going to see if you can remember the new vocabulary word that we learned, diversity. But this week, I want you to notice the differences around you and what makes people special, and also what makes you special. What's different about you from the rest of everyone else? So thank you for being such good listeners today, and I will see you next time. Bye.